domingo.
Are you ready? I was born ready.
Obviously, you're a little, aggravated by the line of questioning regarding Canelo.
I don't want to touch this, dirty, so bad, I don't want to touch his name.
I'm working on feeling the art of humbleness. Can you be with me? That's the reason why I'm crying, because I'm not that person no more. And I miss him. But sometimes I feel like a bitch. I don't want that person to come out, because when he comes out, hell is coming with him. And it's not funny at all. It must sound cool, like I'm a tough guy. It's just, I hate that I'm scared.
It would be awesome to, being a great war, maybe with a Mexican.
Let's go. Wait,
I have to put the joke.
No, hey.
Thank you for playing, man. I appreciate
Good
you.
timing, man.
Can't put predictions, man, but I definitely don't want to leave it to the judges.
Muy buenos días, buenas tardes, donde quiera que nos escuche. We are Long Live Boxing EnVivo Podcast. Manny Marrero.
Sean El Gringo Hicksa.
Hopper.
Always breaking it down like it is, like it should be. The Sunday morning recap for all of you that are listening into our podcast. Anywhere you upload your favorite podcast, that's where you at. You can locate us also in all social medias. Long Live Boxing EnVivo Podcast with another great recap coming up this Sunday. A lot of stuff happening, and we're always here to break it down like it is, like it should be.
EnVivo. Oh, fighting the Gators. Gringo's on mute again. Look at that.
Gringo versus the mute button. Unmuted. Oh, yeah, Gringo. What do you got? What do you got,
Bobby? Is already up 1 round on Gringo.
Man. All right, so already got that round in the books for the mute button. Shout out to the mute button. But I shout out to you guys listening, whether you're listening on the live version YouTube for Facebook, or we're also doing the audio version as well. But yeah, we want to talk about so much going on in boxing. Talk about, showcase and, matchup going wrong. This weekend was a lot of that and a lot of good action and a lot of good things to talk about. So let's jump right into it. So one of the main things that jumped out to me is I continue to love Saturday afternoon boxing.
Oh, I love it.
It's the best.
It's best, bro.
It's unbelievable. But it wasn't unbelievable for our man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Josh Taylor, who we hold in high regard and still have a high respect for as far as his talents and his abilities. But he had maybe not the best performance he was looking for. And Jack Cottrell definitely, showed his mettle and that he was in there to, not just show up and get paid, but he showed up to win. And anytime a fighter shows up to win, there's always fighting fans win, in my opinion. So going to my brother Hopper first, what's your takeaways from the fight and what's your thoughts, brother?
Look, man, not even going to sugarcoat it, bro. Josh Taylor lost that fight. I love me some Josh Taylor. And I feel bad because I think I gave him the old jinx. I was hyping him up in the morning on Facebook, talking about it's one of the best active boxers going. And, I was just giving him some love. I love Josh Taylor, man. He's very respected. I hold him in very high regard. One of the best pound-for-pound boxers. If he would have probably had maybe another fight in him, he would have gave Canelo a competitive run for Fighter of the Year. That's how highly thought of, I think, of Josh Taylor. But last night or yesterday afternoon for us, I don't know who that guy was, man. I've never seen Josh Taylor with that one-dimensional where, what this reminded me of? It brought shades of the Teofimo Lopez-Cambosos fight where he didn't fight as reckless as Teofimo did that day, but it seemed like he only had one game plan, and that was going for the knockout. He's not much of a jabber, but his jab wasn't there. It just looked off. That Josh Taylor, man, I hope people didn't tune in based off of what I put on Facebook yesterday, because they would have been extremely disappointed.
You scammed them.
What the hell's Hopper talking about? He don't know shit about it.
If you just bought ESPN yesterday, ESPN Plus yesterday.
Oh, man, I'm sorry, guys.
$7.
I'm sorry, guys, but that Josh Taylor lost that fight. In my opinion, in my eyes, the ref sucked. I don't even want to start there with the referee. I know you're going to talk about it, Gringo, but yeah, that Josh Taylor, man, I think that's a performance he's definitely going to regret, because that left a sour taste on a lot of boxing fans, and it's when boxing fans agree this unanimously, because boxing fans are toxic in general. when they agree on something, it's for a damn good reason. And that Josh Taylor kind of, he lost the fight, man. Let's just call it for what it is.
No, absolutely, man. Good stuff. And we got some quick shout out before we hear from my brother Manny. So shout out to our brother JC, man. Much respect. Thanks for tuning in, man. G Funky in the house, showing much love. The Black Sheep with the HCP, man. Good morning to you, sir, out there on the West Coast, Sacktown in the house. Chicano Prophet in the house, man. Much love. Portland, Oregon in the house, man. Al Chile showing some love and respect. Chile. Appreciate it. So, man, showing some love. And our brother Manny, what's your thoughts, man? Because we know that you're really, first of all, you're a fan of Josh Taylor. You respect what he's done, and he's had a hell of a run, like our brother Hopper said. But he did not have his A game, so to speak. What was your takeaway from the fight, and just kind of in general, where you at with it?
Well, I think there's a lot of stuff here that people don't understand, and I think you have to see the whole picture. First of all, as a sports at the elite level, I think you're entitled to a bad day, to a day off. You know what I mean? And I think that was the case. Not making any kind of excuses into that, but honestly, what I do want to give out is props to Catterall. He came in and did his thing. And a lot of people are just talking more about, oh, Josh Taylor wasn't his day. Oh, I've never seen him that way. Oh, I've been hyped up about this guy that, he's the undisputed champion. He's beat Prograis. He's beat, Ramirez. And now look how the way he's performing against an opponent that has had nothing in his resume to at least compete against Josh Taylor. And he did. And he brought it. He took advantage of that from the waiting. From the press conferences, I think he got into Josh Taylor's heads. And, when you do that, didn't Josh Taylor did that to, Ramirez? Didn't Josh Taylor? And that does tend to help. And I think right now, Catterall came into this fight as an underdog. By the way, plus 800, but minus 1,300 was
1,200, yeah.
Josh. And listen, he got over his head, and he took the best out of it. And so I don't want to really throw out that he should have won or this and that, but I think, man, Catterall show some toughness. Yep. Son of a gun, two southpaw going at it. My concern to this fight is I felt like I was watching a brutal tango dance. It was all the time was just wrapping up at all times.
Taylor overshooting his target. He just kept overshooting, and then
Taylor, I've never seen Taylor trying to, throw some combinations that are not landing, and it had no purpose, that had no target whatsoever. And then when he was able to land something, it was like a very short kind of like tap, whether it was in the body, whether it's up in the head. This was a completely discombobulated Josh Taylor, in where is he done? Of course, he said he is, but can we see the fact that he's having issues still maintaining his strength at that 140 pounds? And that could be it. Take a look. Just go out there and look at some of the pictures when he fought Ramirez. Look at the body, the difference. He's making the weight fine. He even said it. Shout out to his nutritionist. He's making the weight pretty easy, but he's getting buffed. And he's getting stronger and stronger. And I just don't think that at 140 pounds right now, that will be something that he can continue on, and he's not putting in excuses, but you got to take a lot of things in consideration into this. And I think that, someone in Catterall really took advantage of all aspects of that. And you know what? Sometimes there's a fighter out there who you're going to have issues, coming in, trying to land your best combinations. And this was the case. As it pertains to the referee, I don't have a problem. I think this needed to stop early. The problem is that the point deductions that were done here,
the timing of it all, the optics
it wasn't on the right moment. There was like, okay, if you're going to take a point off, you should have deducted a point when Catterall knocked down Taylor. As he was going down, he landed a left hook. And when he was in canvas, he actually tapped him again in the head. So that's where you take a point out, right? But, and then Josh Taylor kind of came in and, I think they were just going to, exchange up like, good job, whatever, and just hit him in the stomach. Just look. And he took a point out. So you're doing it on the wrong time. But I think you have to go in there and show that, listen, guys, we got to keep this fight clean, because it wasn't clean at all. So
It's a Taylor fight. Every time Josh Taylor fights, it's gonna be. I mean,
I mean,
let's just call it for what it is. He is one dirty son of a gun, man.
and you mentioned something really good, because those people who I was watching the fights, my uncle, my aunt, shout out Cindy and David, and they were like, really, this guy's a big hype. I mean, he's dirty. He doesn't.
He's
I had to
dirty.
show him videos
Rabbit
of
punches,
him fighting
shoulder
Perez, of him
punches,
fighting,
elbows.
you know,
I mean, he
Ramirez,
does
to
it all.
kind of validate the hype about Josh Taylor. But ultimately, I gotta say something. A lot of people think, okay, Catterall won. If you look at the fight again, all right, and you think about a couple of things. Number one, there were some rounds that you're like, who am I going to do it? I mean, who actually did? Who am I going to score this round with? The most active boxer in that round. That's what the judges are going to see, and there were a lot of them. And the second, he is the house fighter. He is the hometown kid. So I mean, ultimately, a couple of those rounds, they were very close. Of course, they were going to give it to Josh Taylor. He's the champion. He's the undisputed. And by the way, there was no. I mean, there's a lot of risk going on. There was not a rematch clause in this, so they had to get it right. Either with a draw, it was going to be a win, or a win, it was going to be a win. So either or, I think that this is it for Josh Taylor. He said it. You know, I don't think he can make it, you know, difficult for him to stay at the 140. I don't see anything, you know, major in him if he ever goes up to the 147.
Yeah, and then that's the nail. You hit the nail on the head right there with the house fighter, the promotional fighter at home, and that's when I compared it to Teofimo Lopez and Cambosos. That's the only difference is that Top Rank was actually promoting Josh Taylor fight, and then for Teofimo against Cambosos, that was the zone, so that was based all neutral. If this fight, the fight yesterday afternoon, is at a neutral site or a neutral promoter,
oh yeah,
Taylor doesn't walk away with those belts. I think Catterall probably did himself a disservice by not finishing out the 11th and the 12th rounds as strong as he maybe should have. Right. If he does win that 12th round emphatically, he puts an exclamation point to the fight, wraps it up nicely for all the boxing fans, a major upset of the year. But he kind of let the gas off a little bit towards the end, and Josh Taylor won those last few rounds.
That's what judges are going to remember, and fans need to understand that. Fans need to, everyone needs to be judged, right? And let me tell you something. Josh Taylor was winning that round when he got a pound deduction. That's an even round. That's a 9-9. A lot of people don't think about that. Right?
And then Andre Ward too, man. He's his scorecard is
he had
very,
like 6-1 in the seventh.
Dude's a freaking homer. I'm like, come on, Andre. I know you're gonna forget more boxing than I will ever know. But come on, bro. You ain't gotta be that much of a homer to your company, like company man. Yeah, I think I remember. I think at one point I had it 4-3-2, 3-1 to Catterall. Like the early rounds, first half of the fight was pretty much all Catterall. It's just he kept landing that basic 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, and took Taylor like 8 rounds to actually figure it out. And that's embarrassing for an undisputed pound for pound great.
No, definitely, bros. Good stuff there. Let me get to these comments real quick, and then we'll kind of talk about as far as Taylor going forward, because he did allude to what he wants and what he feels he should deserve going forward. Chicano Prophet with a comment here. Yeah, Taylor failed to make the adjustments. Agree with you on that. G Funky, even Southpaws give Southpaws trouble, no doubt. JC Catterall beating him in his own dirty tactics. Well said, sir. Agree with you on that. Taylor was frustrated by how Ramirez was with him. Chicano also says, yep, Taylor likes making the waters muddy. Agree with you there. I'm with Manny on this. People are acting like the fight was a blowout. Definitely not. And I scored the 10th 9-9, and that's from G Funky. So great minds think alike there. And another thing I just kind of want to say, for me, the takeaway from the fight, I did give it to Catterall by 1 point. You know, the point deductions. Now that's another thing too. Even though it did leave a bad taste in my mouth, you never like to see too much of the judges involved or the referees into a fight. But it was so dirty. I mean, Catterall was holding a lot. You know, at the same time,
that's kind of what you have to do, though. No, I mean,
but
somebody that's that good of an inside fighter, you have to neutralize his inside game. Yeah,
but Hopper,
you're not gonna just stand there and let the guy go at someone.
When you reset, okay, let's say you separated from the referee and you go back and you start resetting, you come back, right, and you start initiating yourself with your jab, okay, and that jab is not successful, and we grab again. and then we do it again, and we do it again. Listen, I mean, give yourselves an opportunity. I think they both were gassed out by the 89th round.
Yeah, and a lot of it was Taylor overshooting him.
This is a tango fight in where now I'm gonna use my shoulder and just whack him in there, and then rabbit punches to the back. I mean, it was just dirty as fuck. And to be honest,
Taylor
I don't
enjoy
a fight like this with everything on the line, with an undisputed all the belts for all the marbles, and then this kind of performance. I can understand someone that doesn't know much about these guys. They've never heard about them, or they did, they don't believe the hype. And I truly understand where they're coming from when they start bashing this fight like this.
Yeah, no, definitely, man. Go ahead, brother.
Oh, no, yeah. The thing with that about the clinching and the holding is that, as you saw with Ramirez, Taylor, he loves to hit right at the break of the clinch. And Ramirez, he did that rookie mistake when he thought the ref was going to break him up. Nope. Taylor landed that perfect shot, dropped his ass. So Catterall learned from it very well. He was holding on tight. I mean, he was holding on like it was his wife or his girlfriend or his sexy thing, and he was not letting go. And that was a smart thing to do. Catterall has to do that because Taylor kept overshooting. Every time he'd come in, he would overshoot a lot. He was just too excited trying to get him out of there. He knew he was losing the fight. And Catterall smartly held. He's like, are you coming a little too close to me? Boom, I'm going to hold you. And even Taylor would still rabbit punch back of the head. And, man, it was Taylor's – I keep an eye on him.
No, definitely. And speaking of keeping an eye on him, you guys bring up some good points. I was mentioning the judges. I was the referee is that the optics of when he was actually taking the points away and how he was involving himself. Now, granted, I didn't like and appreciate that, but I do feel like they had to be involved because you had so much hand fighting on the inside. Yeah, a lot of roughhousing and dirty tactics. At least make the presence known that we don't want that to be a attraction.
And he took now that you mentioned it, Gringo, he did take a point away from each. He
gave it back. He gave it back. He took a point away from Taylor.
If he only did it, when he did it to Catterall, I was pissed. I was mad. I texted in our group chat. I said, "This is fucking bullshit." I go, "No, this is
but then he took it back."
I was mad. But when he did it to Taylor, I'm like, "All right, well, now it kind of evens out." Now it's
I'm not going to be that difference maker on this fight, on a fight that's very close. And I think the referee, they do know how close these fights are. And he had to make a statement there to say, "Listen, enough is enough." That is the only way. I'm not against any of that. I think the referee should have acted from the beginning. Stop the fucking nonsense.
He know what I mean? And sometimes he kept trying almost every round.
He was like, don't do it. It's like, no, fuck, listen, separate them. Push them to the side. I'm going to take one
a point from both of them.
There was not a directive to them in terms of like, I'm going to really fucking take that point out. Stop the bullshit, right? Until Josh Taylor and the entire crowd was like, whoa, what the fuck happened here? Hey, you really spanked them. Not only a little tap, you really spanked them both. And then I'm going to give the point back to them because that was bullshit too. Just about, Josh Taylor what he did together. That was bullshit.
It's the optics of it. I think eventually he's right about trying to control the fight because of the dirty tactics. But just the optics, the timing, has a ref ever grabbed both of them and said, point deducted for both of y'all? That's probably what he should have done.
I know.
Joe Cortez would have done that.
You know what? Grab both of them in the middle of the ring. Look, no, this stops. Point. Minus both of y'all.
Definitely. So we got some comments here I want to get to, and then we'll get into our last part of this. I really want to touch on.
There you go. That's a good one, Nopal. Of course, Ward would have. Taylor.
Right.
They both share the exact. That's a good one.
Ward appreciated Taylor's tactics. He scored at Taylor to stay on code with the boxing tactics. They both share. Absolutely.
Joe Tessitore was being very polite when he said, "Now, Andre, some people could have it just slightly different than your scorecard."
Pretty much the whole world. But I think like 70% of people had it going for
Catterall.
Yeah, Catterall.
Oh yeah.
Catterall took a calculated risk by holding Taylor on the inside, and it paid off.
Oh, you have to neutralize his inside game. Yeah. That inside game is deadly.
Especially when you got
what he did against Prograis and against Ramirez. You let Taylor work on the inside, you might as well just lose. You might as well just give up.
And honestly, I mean, some of the guys are coming up to me and talk to me about Manny, but I know a lot of boxing experts talk about CompuBox numbers and so if you talk about CompuBox numbers and you're looking at me right now and saying that Catterall had much better percentage in when it comes to accuracy, much higher percentage in terms of like power punches. Why did they took the decision away from him? And it's just a lot of things, a lot of stuff that happens in there. A lot of components are, these judges are looking at that. At the end of the day, it's like what memorable moment have I seen in the fight? Who's the most active boxer? And of course, you said it. I mean, dinner. Additionally, funny because we had a conversation. We looked at Google. I'm not sure if this is correct information or not, but we looked at Google the average of a boxer that makes judging. It goes from $20,000 to $30,000. That's it in a yearly basis. And so there's not a lot of money. But let me tell you something.
But it's a highly
if you are there and you're like, listen, I'm going to pay you $20,000, $30,000 for a Mayweather package or something like that, something ridiculous. What do you think you're going to do? Right? This round's very close, but I think the counter. And I'm not saying that exactly happened, but that's the speculations us fans have, and I think it's unfair.
Go ahead and say it, man. Say it with your chest. It happens all the time.
I think it's unfair.
Promoters. Let's not say they're cheating though. Promoters influence judges, with certain ways. They go around the whole buying the judges. It's more of an influence, like, hey, scratch my back, I'll scratch yours, wink, wink, shit like that. It happens. We know it does. It's not bullshit around it.
Yeah.
No, definitely. Yeah. So speaking of as far as what you take away from and the optics of the fight. So now that the fight is over, it was scored a victory, a close, controversial victory.
Close, yes.
For Josh Taylor. And that's the thing, like I see it was very close. I don't see it as a robbery. It's an injustice from the standpoint of, I could see Catterall winning, but at the same point, I can make a strong argument. Well, I can at least make an argument that Josh Taylor won.
I don't know. I'd have to really listen to your argument about Josh Taylor.
I gotta listen to that too.
I gotta listen to you. I need a PowerPoint presentation. I need it broken down round by round as to how Josh Taylor won that fight, because naked eye, just watching it, hey, Taylor lost, man, and he knows it. What was he doing there talking on the microphone, talking about that he won? Boy, sit your ass down.
No, he did have a good comeback in the second half, but I don't have my PowerPoint ready right now. But I'm just saying that it's not a. I was able to sleep at night. I was able to sleep at night, knowing, it wasn't like it just totally.
It wasn't a blowout, of course not.
No, nothing like that.
Either way. So, but it was a clear competitive.
But I mean, when you look at the scorecards. Look at the scorecards.
Yeah, right? 113, 112 was one of them, right? The deciding factor.
So it's very even. I mean, it's not a fight that it was like 112,
114 was kind of bullshit, though.
Ridiculous like that. We've seen a couple of those crazy ones,
No, this one kind of had that. What do you think about that 114, 111 scorecard that I forget which judge turned in, but yeah, 114, 111. I thought that was kind of
to Catterall?
No, 114, 111 to Taylor.
Taylor?
Yeah, Victor Laughlin had Taylor 114, 111. John
No,
Lewis.
definitely, man.
Ian John Lewis, my bad.
All right, so now the fight is over. The fight is done. And it looks like that Josh Taylor's done with 140. What's your thoughts on that? And as far as like going forward, of course he had the famous call out that boxers do, the call out that really, man, talk about ill-timed and ill-placed. But he called out, Terrence Crawford, which before the fight seemed like the fight that made a lot of sense. It was
one of my dream fights, man.
Right? Yeah, but now in hindsight, but let's not totally just wash it away. The talent is still there, and, just one fight doesn't make a man. What's your thoughts on where do you stand as far as Josh Taylor going forward? Are you glad he's leaving 140, or do you wish he would stay, or what's your thoughts?
No, you know what he needs to do? He needs to give Catterall a rematch. Some of these other guys, best you can do for Taylor is a draw, but he didn't win the fight. G-Funky, yeah, I agree. That's
but
waiting on Gringo's PowerPoint presentation. So we'll wait on that maybe next week.
A draw still was going to win for Taylor because there's no rematch clause. And who keeps the belts on a draw?
But the champion. But back to Gringo's question. I think he has to give him a rematch, man. I think some of these guys, we've seen other elite boxers like Floyd with Jose Luis Castillo. He gave him a rematch. Even I'm drawing a blank, but I know it's happened quite often where these guys give him a rematch if it's that controversial. If Taylor gives him a rematch and then wins convincingly, then we can just wash this and forget about it. It's off night, like Manny says. They do have off nights. But I was kind of looking forward to him moving up to 147 and Terrence Crawford. But now at the moment, keep Terrence Crawford's name out your mouth, bro, because if you can go in there looking like that, one-dimensional, Terrence Crawford's just gonna undress you. Oh yeah, there you go. Look, right there you go, Jermel Castano. Boom. Yeah, that's a perfect example of running it back. Running it back. If it's that controversial, run it back, and you'll get mad respect from everybody. Like, okay, I'm gonna clear this one the right way.
Yeah, and ironically, that was what Undisputed does for all the belts. So
yeah, so hey, look at that.
Yeah, there you go. There. Just real quick, then we hear from my brother Manny. As far as I do want them to you want something going into it, but then you reassess after it's taken place. Granted, I definitely did want to see Taylor go to 140. I thought it would kind of shake some things up, and I thought it would be a good opportunity.
147?
147 for a matchup for Terrence Crawford or just really anybody. Just another name in the mix of somebody that's willing to throw their hat in there and get the smoke. But he has some unfinished business as far as
he has unfinished business.
Yeah, I mean, because you can make the argument for the Rigas Prograis.
Even Prograis, exactly. Good point. Yeah,
you can make the
that he lost that fight. If it's in America, they probably give it to Regis.
Right. So you have that, and then now this with the Catterall fight.
The Ramirez one was kind of close.
Even the Ramirez one with the exchanges, because those were so close and razor thin, and now this one where people are actually saying Catterall won. I feel like he's doing a disservice. We know that more money is going to be at 147, or is there? But I would like to see the Catterall rematch as well.
They got to run it back, man.
They got to run it back.
They have to run it back. For Josh Taylor to maintain the respect that he does from everybody, people aren't going to forget about this unless they run it back and then he beats him convincingly.
Yeah,
like we thought he would. Like because the odds indicated that he would, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So definitely, what's your thoughts, Manny? Do you want them as far as Josh Taylor? Do you want him to run it back? Do you want him to stay at 140? What do you want to do? 147?
I think right now it's more of how comfortable Josh Taylor feels at 140 pounds. Do we want to see it going back? Yes. Does Josh Taylor wants to go back and try another time, knowing that it's not the struggle of the 140, it's just how strong he's getting built. And I just don't think it one more time for him. And call it like duck sauce, whatever people want to call it. I don't think that will happen. Definitely, you can't start looking at the bigger fish in the sea at the 147. If you are having plans to move at the 147 with this kind of performance, you cannot expect to contend for a title belt at the 147 on your first fight. Okay, and that could happen when you're a super champion, especially a WBA. You go on to the next division, and you most likely have an opportunity to contend quickly, right? But in this case, even in WBO, in this case, you don't. And with that kind of performance, I don't see him. He probably got a night off or whatever. But I just don't see him. Neither with the top 5 guys that are in the welterweight right now. And then you start counting some of the newer talent that it's up in 147. They're there. They're stronger than Josh Taylor. Right now, I don't know, man. I think I would prefer him to go back and give him the rematch, make some more money, get something exciting, prove your point, and then come up as a super champion, defending your belts twice and making making a statement. Listen, I ran it back again and I did it. I pulled it off like a true champion, like a true undisputed. That's what legends do. That's what undisputed champions would do. And I can guarantee you it's not compared, but if Canelo ever has a match like that, which, by the way, Mayweather did it. Mayweather did it, and he did it with Maidana. And what did he do next? You deserve another chance. And he did it. He gave Maidana another chance. And what did
Canelo did it with Triple G.
And did it with Triple G. So he redeemed himself. So if you want to be that undisputed true champion that you earn, right, make sure that you run it back. You make no mistakes at this time, and you clear things out. And now you move up to the weight class in where now people are going to start taking you a little bit more serious than that. Is it going to be tough for him to still make 140? He said he didn't have any problems doing it.
He says he could stay there.
He still could stay there, But honestly, in my mind, it's like, ooh,
5'10", bro.
I got out of the tough one. I ain't going back. That is the same thing that Pitbull against Tank Davis. Is that going to happen again?
That fight was in my head.
I'm the fucking out of here. I won.
No, but they asked Tank. Do you want to rematch him? Hell no.
No smoke out of that.
Part of
so
this guy.
I don't know. But anyway, either or, I think it's. I'm very disappointed the way I saw Josh Taylor last night. Yes, we all knew he was a dirty fighter, but yesterday, man, he overdid it, and I just can't stand. I can't stand some of those tactics. I can't. This is a sport that needs a lot of help and being dirty in the ring and then pulling away something that he got lucky on that. It continues to give a sour taste into the sport in my eyes.
Yeah. Before we move on, Gringo, I just wanted. They mentioned yesterday in the telecast. Interesting nugget about Catterall. When he came over to the States when he was 19 years old, he was a sparring partner for Floyd and Canelo, which just blew my mind. I was like, wow, so he's in there fighting lions at his young age, and you could see the seasoning when he fought Taylor last night. He was calm, under control, sticking to his game plan.
Yeah.
That's sparring. Those guys will do it for you.
Yeah.
No, definitely.
I mean, he's got a lot of fights, but not an impressive resume that you can say you can pinpoint as like, okay, who has been the best guy that he has fought for the last 3 years? It's like, okay, who?
Maybe O'Hara Davis, maybe, I think, right?
O'Hara Davis, and
hey, you asked me a question. That's probably the best that I can think of on the top.
That's
of my
it.
head.
That's it.
Probably.
So, big props for Catterall. Man, you fucking deserve a rematch, and I hope Josh Taylor.
Hope he gets it, man. I hope
it happens. And then guess what? Bring it to the UK then. Bring it to England. You're in Scotland. Bring it back to the other side of the fence, Let's see what happens. Let's see who gets this decision now.
No, bring it to America. Keep it.
Bring it to Vegas.
Controls the fucking
Vegas. Big shot.
No, definitely, man. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I mean, we're saying what we want, but realistically, I think the journey to 147 is in his future, and that's what we're probably going to get. I mean, it's
ruining my half man, half disappointment.
It's boxing, man. It's boxing. But no,
from one upset to the next.
Let's keep it going. But I want to get to these comments real quick. Got some good ones in there. So Chicano Province said Taylor is now slightly more undisputed than Kambosos. Laughing emoji. A little bit of hate there.
I want to say something a little bit different than that. All right. And I love what Terry Atlas said on a tweet. The difference between Kambosos and Catterall is that, Kambosos never took the gas off. So that was a blame on Catterall. So Catterall, I think he had a much better and don't take off all that credit from Kambosos. Kambosos did what he had to do, regardless of what happened to Teofimo. Or he can't make the weight anymore, and that's the same thing about Catterall.
Oh, good stuff. Yeah. All right, so XCP Boxing Network, Catterall was sparring Floyd and Canelo. Damn.
That's what the word on the street is.
Kambosos with Manny.
Yeah.
Be careful of either these sparring partners. G Funky came out and said
one hit wonder.
I wouldn't say Taylor is dirty fighter, but very crafty one on the inside.
Oh, come on, G Funky. You'll be too kind. He's not listening. He's not listening to us right now, bro. Or maybe he is.
Maybe he is. All right, Castano at JCC, sparring partners. All right, so
there you go. That's just the Andre Ward for dirty.
Yeah.
Sparring partner. So Berlanga tired of
that's a reach right there. Berlanga was beat this.
All right, but speaking of reach, man, this is a fight. I gotta be honest, man. Going into it, I was actually saying like, man, it feels like a showcase weekend. They really don't have matchups where people are gonna really be tested. And man, shut me up really quick.
Boy.
Chris Colbert, a guy was looking like he was gonna be the man and kind of a upset apple cart kind of guy at 130, causing problems for Kurt Stevenson, but he had his own problems.
Dominated.
And man, he did not look good. He went in there thinking like, hey, I'm gonna take this guy in 3 weeks. I'm gonna go up there. I'm gonna show him who's boss. I'm gonna run him down.
Wait. 2.5 weeks. 2.5.
My bad. I don't want to round up. I want to give him his full credit.
Round that out.
Yeah. All right. So he had 2.5 weeks to prepare, and he came out there and he showed tremendous chin power, and a lot of good patience too. And his punch selection I thought was fantastic. As far as like he wasn't just throwing wild shots, because sometimes guys with power in a situation like that, they're gonna like kind of gas out. He had great poise, so
he was hungry. He wanted more.
He wanted more, and he ate more, and he took it more all the way. What's your thoughts? What's your thoughts on that one, brother? Hopper.
He was fighting like his nickname, Android. He was fighting like one of the androids on Dragon Ball Z when they first got there, beating up on Krillin and Tien when he got there, man. That's how lopsided it was. He completely undressed Colbert. And after the knockdown, you could see Colbert didn't really want to engage some more. And then I believe they said it himself, in the 9th or the 10th round, he landed that body shot. And it was done. Colbert was done after that. He just kept running around, circling. The fans switched from Colbert to Garcia. My son was watching it. He's been eagerly going to the boxing gym, and I've told him, look, that guy already, he's done, mijo. And he saw it himself. He's like, yeah, but why is he still fighting? I go, man, it's pride. Just wants to finish the fight, I guess. But he was done. Colbert, man, what a disappointment. I'm glad I didn't go on one of my Facebook rants about talking about hyping him up, because I already did it with Josh Taylor. I'm looking kind of foolish. And then, but Colbert, like you said it best, Gringo. He was looking like he's going to about to throw his name in the 130 pounds. And Hector Garcia said, no, hoy no, not tonight. And wow, what a performance by Hector Garcia, man. Manny put it best, man. Let's not stop discrediting these guys that go in there by saying the other guy had an off night. Sometimes the challenge just wants it more, man.
Yeah.
No,
and they're prepared. They're ready.
No, I'm so glad you said that. I think that's very important. Go ahead, Manny. My bad, brother.
No, I mean, La República Dominicana. Óyeme, Garcia from the opening bell, bro. He showed great sense of urgency, and I think that was the key factor to this. Not taking the foot out of the gas pedal. That urgency translated into how punching volume, and man, the Dominican just kept on chasing Colbert around, and that constant pressure that Garcia had. I mean, it paid off. That in that 7th round, he blasted cover with that counter left hook. And, I don't think that Colbert either expected that, or I don't think that Colbert never thought that would happen, or he's never seen that before. And so this is what happens to some of these late, late replacements down almost to the stretch that, you, first of all, I'd say there's a slight disadvantage because you haven't properly trained for that individual. And second, you as being the heavy favorite, and then you have the underdog is always that has nothing to lose. And that's the point that I was trying to make with Hopper, and he mentioned also as well. He said, listen, they come in prepared. They got nothing to lose. They're making some money, they're getting exposure, and they're getting that opportunity. And that opportunity right now is for a title eliminator. And right now, which by the way, I think it's going to be a great fight now for Garcia against Roger Gutierrez. That is a very interesting matchup. Two good style of boxers, and are they going to run it back again? I don't know. I don't think so. Is there a rematch on that? I didn't hear the press after that because I went out afterwards. No. But I was
for Colbert and Garcia.
Yeah.
No, there's no rematch clause. There wasn't even a rematch clause for Taylor and Catterall.
No, there wasn't any. But I didn't have any interest in watching this fight last night. I was going out last night dancing. No, and then I stopped while I'm getting dressed. And I'm getting ready. I'm like, let me just, and I start putting them, and I'm like, man, I mean,
I thought that Showtime card was low key pretty good, man.
Yeah. So, the other point is, great job for Hector Garcia. He really came in and took the best of this, of this opportunity. Como decimos nosotros en español, mira, agarró la oportunidad por los cuernos y hizo lo mejor que pudo, mira, y afortunadamente todo pagó. Para en su lado, y ahora mismo tienes una persona que está listo para retar al campeón de esa división de la Asociación Mundial de Boxeo.
Argentino, right? Roger Gutierrez is Argentino.
No, es venezolano, venezolano.
Yeah. That's Venezolano? Oh, disculpa. Yeah. I'm thinking Argentina, and that was Fernando Martinez, the first.
Oh, yeah.
He upset Jerwin Ansaja. So it was a night of upsets, man. Marcos Maidana promotes Fernando Martinez, if I'm not mistaken. I think they're going to rematch that one. So that was another shocking upset.
Yeah, and Arsano was making his U.S. debut, too. I know it wasn't like a big deal, but I mean, hey, he's a belt holder in 115.
Yeah, he was a belt holder. Yeah, he was like one of the longest reigning belt holders, I think.
Yeah, no, he was.
And I want to take this opportunity to keep
was.
shouting out, man. Robeisy Ramirez did it again.
Oh, he
I
looked
mean,
phenomenal.
He
Yeah,
looked
we didn't talk about
fantastic.
him.
I was like, man, that loss he
looked
took, and he
good.
can learn a lot from it. Unfortunately, he took he took Capu out, and then now he's getting into that contention level. So Robeisy, all that promise he had when he was in the Olympics and all that, it is starting to show now. And watch out for that.
No, definitely.
Yeah. So and then and Gary Antoine Russell, he beat Postol. I think that that fight knockout. maybe was a little.
I didn't see that one.
No, yeah, I think it was maybe a little premature stoppage, but I mean, either way, Gary Antoine Russell, he dominated, wasn't dominated, but he was winning the fights regardless.
Yeah,
so
he was in clear control.
That was but there wasn't that many seconds left, anyways. For the fight. So
no, definitely. I'm with you on that. I mean, you can question as far as like maybe slightly premature, but it wasn't. It was valid. I could see why they would stop the fight at that point. And Gary Russell was in control at that point, I think, and kind of had dominated pretty much most of that fight towards the end. So Soapbox, shout out to you, man. Coach Collinsworth in the house. No one should have been a Colbert believer. Plenty show, no go. Taylor's level gimmies are dangerous. Josh had an off night, but it doesn't mean that he shouldn't get a decision. Guys, forget the top. Things are competitive. Yeah,
That's a true statement, and I think that's one of the points that we're trying to prove. I mean, you can't really punish someone just because you have an off night, and you're going to get some advantages being a champion, being a house fighter, being, let's not make it obvious, but you know what? You earn the right to probably have the slight edge, whether people want to believe that or not, whether people want to take that as a, decision making. It's part of the judging process. Even from the back in the days, all the way down to the Mayweather days, you are the house fighter, you are the local, you are the hometown kid, you are going to be. You have to knock him out to win a decision. That's the same thing. If you go to Mexico and fight Canelo, to beat him, you got to knock him out. That makes sense. So I hope that everyone understands that. It's like, oh, well, because it's Canelo. Listen, it has to happen that way. You cannot win a close fight against a hometown kid. You can't.
All right. So, anything else you want to add, Hopper, as far as the Showtime card, or you want to get into?
No, I think we touched on all three of them. The Ensajas upset.
Ensajas upset. That was really good, man. I was. Boy,
and then Chris Colbert just completely undressed, man. Completely.
Yeah,
he got worked.
No, definitely.
Cash cow privileges. I love that one. It is. You earned it, didn't you? Right? Fuck it.
Comment right there from our man. Chicano Prophet. So get into
I hate the game.
Don't want to bury the lead, so to speak. So granted, he fought last week. We didn't really touch on it. We want to touch a little bit more, and we're going to talk about the man, Mr. Jaime Munguia, and kind of like, to me, his career is very interesting as far as like where he's at, where he's been, and as far as like what's taking place and what could potentially come from his career moving forward. So kind of what's your thoughts on, because you have a guy who's had 40 fights. He made weight. He won his last fight versus Ballard. He got 3 third round TKO. He's recently had a new partnership where he started. I think this is his 5th fight now with Eric Morales. Teaming up, and it's definitely seen some improvements there. So that's definitely encouraging. He was struggling, and that was when they first got together. It was at 156, and now he's at 160. He had some challenges where they had some video of him actually looking like he was very gaunt and almost looked like he passed out. Well, he did pass out. He was on the floor, fighting at 160. So he's in fertile ground because obviously if you're in that 160 range to, I guess, hypothetically cruiser, you could be potentially a quote-unquote Canelo opponent at some point. So there's so many things to me that kind of go in my mind as far as like, how do I view him? Do I see enough improvement? Do I get excited for him? Is he being moved maybe too carefully? Hopper, what's your thoughts as far as your opinion right now on Mr. Jaime Munguia?
Man, I'm gonna be polite, man. I'm gonna be nice because he is He is Mexicano, you know, but I wanna call it like I see it. He is very being carefully promoted, carefully moved. That's obvious. I went through all his opponents. He's 39-0, right? I went through every single one of his opponents. He has never fought a southpaw. That's a huge red flag. Your promoter doesn't believe you're capable of defeating any southpaws, and that's a huge knock on Jaime Munguia. And the fact that his biggest opponent, or his highest, the biggest name on his resume is Gabriel Rosado. In the most recent fights, that shows you something, man, of where he's at in his career. But he has improved under Eric Morales. I think his defense, he's no longer blocking punches with his face like he used to earlier in the days when he first came on the scene. And his combination punches, he's setting them up a lot better with the feints. You know, he doesn't telegraph the punches anymore. So he is improving. Do they want to match him up against maybe somebody like a Boo Boo? No, I think they're running away from that fight. And I think the WBO just recently said that they would have to was it a final eliminator against I'm drawing a blank on his name, the Kazakhstan guy, the guy from where Triple G is from.
Palestine?
Yeah, what's his name?
Janibek.
Yeah, there you go. That one.
Ali Kafuli or something like that. Yeah.
Something like that. But yeah, he's over there from Kazakhstan, and is Golden Boy gonna take them up on that on the WBO's eliminator fight for the interim title? I don't know. We'll see if they decide not to. Then we'll know how confident they feel about their boy Jaime Munguia. I think at this point he's on that the PBC Floyd Mayweather protection plan, like they have it on that side, and I think that's what Jaime Munguia is at right now. He is improving, so I don't want to completely bash him, but I think it's time to show up, man. You've been in the game for a little too long, and Gabriel Rosado is the biggest name on your opponent on your resume. You gotta fix that. You gotta do something about it, man.
Yeah, and that's a great point, man. A great research to you.
Way to keep it real, bro.
Just because he's Mexican, you
know.
He's the greatest ever. He's
the greatest ever. Greatest ever.
No, I mean that's kind of the thing where I feel torn because I do appreciate and like to watch him fight. Like, let me say that.
Yeah, of course. Fan-friendly fights.
Yeah, he's very fan-friendly, and I do see the improvement. But at the same time, I'm like, fuck, man, he's had damn near 40 fights. And like you said, hasn't fought a southpaw. That's not by accident. Now, I know that Dylan White, that's the same thing too. And they've come out and said that's not by accident either. He's never fought a southpaw. Yeah. But that's heavyweight, and that's a little bit different. So what about the issues with the scale, though? Like, to me, that kind of concerns me. He's only 25. And, like, he's 6'1". Where do you ultimately even see him being at? You know what I mean? As far as his weight. And, like, really campaigning at as far as being a true title contender.
Man, he said after the fight that in the interview he said that he wasn't feigning or anything. He was just a little tired. So
I do that every day, brother. After I eat.
Yeah, I don't know. Do we believe it or not? I don't know.
Puerto Rican Rum says, I think Munguia stands a decent chance against Andrade. Boo Boo tends to fade late in fights. And that's
I would love to see it.
I think so too. I think you said, Hopper, he may not be ready or don't want no smoke for Boo Boo. I think that Boo Boo and him will be the biggest test to bring in youngster with so many fights under his belt. And I think Boo Boo wants some of the smoke. In terms of like unifying or making big fights, is this something that will if I was an Andrade, is this something that I really want to bring into my career? You got to have mixed emotions in this because you have a very good talented individual, young, that has a good power punching, and the defense has gotten a lot better. One interesting thought, a couple of years ago, we brought, we met an amazing photographer, Esmeralda, fotógrafa de la gente.
That's you, Esmeralda.
And I remember like today, we were talking about the top Mexican prospects. And I think when she mentioned her number one prospect, she mentioned Jaime Munguia. We were like, whoa, from all the current ones that we have, who do you think would be the best? Even if we talk about the current legends right now, who would be the best Mexican of all in a few years? She had mentioned Jaime Munguia. We all like, well, whoa. And at that time, I think Jaime Munguia was about to fight Gary Sullivan or something like that, or maybe
Mike Sullivan, I think.
Brianna Johnson in that fight. Sullivan. But all of a sudden, we're like seeing all the things that she mentioned, she talked about. She's behind the scenes, she's watching this kid grow. And then I add him in the social media. I started to get a little bit more involved into his life. He, changed the training camp. He's, what is it? He's a Big Bear, or he's training in
He
LA.
honeydeed you.
And you know what I mean? It's like, wow. What that?
I said he honeydeed you. Now you love him.
He honeydeed you. No, he didn't. But listen, no. And I like the kid. He's young, he's talented, he's dedicated, he's committed, and he's starting to build a big, huge fan base, which in fact, I want to see some of these guys starting to take away all this BS bullshit crap, some of the, current champions that don't want to fight each other. And then here are some other guys. We talk about it in the 147, right? None of these fuckers want to fight each other. Well, guess what? Get some of these youngsters to come up. They're learning. They're having opportunities. And I see him now. The way she promoted him back in the days, now I can start seeing why she mentioned this guy's going to be great. Yes, I totally agree with you. They're cautiously, guiding his career. I mean, he's got a lot of fucking fights for being, 25, 39 fights
39
right
and
now.
0.
And still maybe less than a handful of, elite boxers. Name Gabriel Rosado, I think it was definitely his biggest test. But, right now, yes, absolutely. I want to see that Jaime Munguia going into that next level. Come on, bring that Boo Andre. Bring that fight. That will be something.
Would be a great fight, because I doubt Golden Boy makes the Janabib Alim Kanuli fight for the interim title, while Boo Boo's over there organizing a fight with Zach Parker. So that's a nice little Final Four that we, if it happens. But boxing, you never know. What would be a great fight for Jaime Munguia? Chris Eubank. Chris Eubank.
Or even Carlos Adame. That could be a really good one.
Oh,
let's
Carlos
go ahead and
Adame,
1 and 2.
Carlos Adame is pretty good, man.
Let's go ahead and 1 and 2 for the WBC too. I mean, just think about it.
There's some good, decent names out there.
Good fights right
now.
For him.
All right, so that's kind of my thing, and I appreciate you guys saying that. So that's where I'm trying to get at. So we know fighters want to fight, and as far as a promoter, so you said a key thing, Hopper. I think as far as does Golden Boy believe in Munguia? Not that he can make the money and he could be a profitable fighter and be a name, but that he could make a true run and do like what our brother Chicano Prophet said. Munguia will be a middleweight champion soon. Do you believe that? I don't know if we're getting trolled right now.
Munguia versus Jermall Charlo.
Like seriously, right?
Not yet. Do you think he can run the table?
I think he's ready for Jermall.
Eventually, I think he can run the table. Eventually, give him a couple of times, but I think he needs to prove himself with either former champion or
that Chris Eubank Jr. fight will sell. That's a hot ticket right there.
Get him with Lara.
Yeah,
get him with Lara. Something like that. I mean,
I think crappy regular champions. Him, bro. Lara's.
I mean, just to get him up there in the name to finally get some exposure, with eventually bringing some of the top champions right now. I don't think he's ready right now for Murata. Murata is a fucking son of a gun. But I see a lot of promising, and I see the future of this. Golovkin will fade out eventually. All right, Charlos, what the fuck? I don't know what's gonna happen with her. And Boo Boo, it just seems like he wants to fight the guys that don't want to fight him. The same thing with Crawford. But why don't you go ahead and fight the guys that want to fight? You don't want to fight. Why don't you go ahead and fight them? Right? Make things interesting at the middleweight. We need to get this whole consolidation off the map, and we need to start seeing new blood coming in. And I think Jaime Munguia, it's at the right weight division right now. Before he starts getting bigger, I think he should be ready. Maybe 2 more fights. All
right. Let's get to these comments real quick. So, shout out to Knockout by Kenny, man. Doing big things. Much respect, HDP. Would want to see Eubanks versus Munguia. That's the same level fighter. Oh, he would not. Oh,
no.
That's what it says. I would not want to see Chris Eubank Jr.
That's the same level of fighter he's currently fighting.
No. I would rate Chris Eubank Jr. a little higher than some of the guys he's fighting right now, like Ballard and.
But how do you get there to fight these guys? You got to take the risk, and if you're that good. And I mean, just think about it. Is he going to end up his career like Chavez? 100.
Chicano Prophet.
And half of them were like, "Who are they?"
Chicano Prophet wants to correct himself, Manny. He says he never said anything about Munguia running the table at middleweight.
He never said.
I don't know. No, man. Running the table is pretty ambitious because he still got some. you got some pretty good guys up there. But yeah, it's time, man. It's time. I want to see this guy in there fighting with.
I think so, man. I think
fighting
for
with
in my eyes,
man.
I
Come
think
on, let's take the training wheels off.
I would
He's either ready
right
or he's
now.
not at this point. He's 25 years old, 39 fights. Come on, man. Let's
I would take the risk right now and say in 2 years, if he
Jamal
can
Charlo.
still make the
Boom.
weight, he can run the table at the middleweight. If he can still make that weight, I would say that. I honestly, I am in the train. Choo choo. Yes.
Am I the Mexican or are you the Mexican?
EnVivo.
Yeah. I can't see that.
I can't see, man.
I
Hey,
mean,
maybe you see something I don't, Manny, but
he's got them.
I trust
if he
Esmeralda.
fights a
No,
southpaw, let him
para
fight
la
his first
gente.
southpaw, and then I'll come back to that.
Well, I mean, no. Even Eric Morales said it, and sadly enough, we had a conversation with him, interview him, and everything, and we never on cameras. We never talked about Munguía, but off camera, I was able to ask a couple questions. And he said, "Man, this kid, it still needs some work, but this is a very special, dedicated kid. That we're gonna make the best to get him up there, and I think I believe it. He's surrounded by champions." He is he's a big promise, and I want to see that. I do. I'm believing the hype, to be honest.
Nice.
All
Good
right.
job,
So what
man.
I'm just going to say this real quick to close things out for him is, I think that he's gonna have to find his weight to really truly campaign at. He's having trouble still at 25 years old. So I think he's a better chance as far as maybe not running the table, but fighting opponents where he could get some quality opponents and quality wins under his belt at 160. But ultimately, I think 168 will probably be where he winds up campaigning at, which I think you could have some
lines
opponents.
will be there.
A lot of lines in there. So that's why I'm saying he has to get himself ready and truly figure out what he's going to do, because it's good to have a game plan, but if you don't really know where you're campaigning at and you can't sustain your weight, I mean, that's a big part of it.
That's what I said.
That's
I had a big if. Bingo. I had a big if.
Yeah, man, and
I
don't want to see him fight fucking Vincent Fagenbuds next, or Juan Manuel Taborda, or some of these guys that are ranked way at the bottom.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So like they're a real tipping point for me as far as what we're gonna move. As far as are we gonna move forward, as far as we're gonna continue at 160. If we are, we're gonna go after some actual names. Are we gonna move up to 168?
Even 160, moving in 168. Now I'm questioning things, because if you're moving in 168, if you think about, there's a lot of talent in middleweight. There's more up there.
At 168?
No, that's what I'm saying.
Oh,
like,
that's what we said. There's a lot of lions over there.
I think right now he needs to make the best effort to try to make the weight and try to become a world champion at the 160.
Man, you go to 168, Caleb Plant, BJ Saunders.
No, and not only that, it's gonna be a long waiting line to get behind. You're not gonna fight Canelo, and if Canelo's still the undisputed,
he's not. Man,
how are you gonna become a world champion?
Stop! You're trying to get Munguía murdered, bro. You just said you loved him, and now you want to see him get killed, bro.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying his best chances. Listen to me, Hopper. His best chances to become a world champion and run the table would be at 160.
Fighting Canelo?
That's it.
Wow.
No, not fighting Canelo.
I'm kidding.
All right, so let's get this
160
comment right here before I move into news and notes. So Chicano Prophet says people like the Rosado fight until Munguía handled him like I said he would. People were talking about Rosado resurgence and all that. All right, Chicano Prophet. Yeah, I'm with you on that too. I mean, in comparison to what some of his previous opponents, it was a step up from that standpoint. And Rosado was coming off his Becta Bully, knockout.
Yeah.
So it was a good timing thing. A lot of it is also timing too about who you fight, but not just that, but when you fight them, it's also a part of it as well. I think that gained the momentum, and it drew me in, and it was an entertaining fight, even though Munguía, like you said, did handle him. So
my only concern is De La Hoya. For some reason, De La Hoya is just fading off the planet when it comes to the promoters. When it comes to and shout out to all our brothers from the HP and also from Standing Day Podcast. They had a fantastic conversation the other day about some of these things in De La Hoya. But anyway, and this is just some of the few fighters that he still has, and so. Before it's too late, he definitely needs to stop being too cautious with him. And I think he needs to trust them a little bit more. That point of Hopper brought in, he's never fought a southpaw. That is a huge red flag. If you fans, want to understand what that is, Yeah, that's important to know. Is what do you know that I don't know? Right? Is it an issue? Is it something you're working on? Is there some of the things behind the scenes that might not make me believe that he's got all it takes to be that person at the 160 pound? Right? So, but still, I mean, I think there's a lot of promise with this youngster.
No, absolutely,
Cool.
brother. All right, so
Juana en la casa.
anything you want to add, Hopper, before we go ahead and close things out, man? This has been a good show, man. Good topic.
Yeah. Yes, completely off topic. All right. Friday, March 4th, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. Mexico versus Puerto Rico. Jose Ramirez, Sniper Pedraza. You already know who I'm rooting for. It's going to be awesome. I can't wait. This is the type of fight that you bring the TV outside, fire up the grill, call the homies up, drink some cold ones, and get ready for a classic rivalry. I'm excited for it. March 4th. We need to have our own little special about it. Maybe post-fight talk about it. It's going down March 4th. I can't wait. I know Manny's excited to see his boy get whooped.
Man, you know what?
Whoa.
Whoa.
Are you serious?
I had to add that, bro. You already know.
Yeah.
That's
All right, so it's big fight week. Obviously, my brothers, man, they've been going at it tooth and nail. But it's I think low key he's playing it cool. But Hopper, I think, man, he's pretty low key confident about this one, man.
I think so, man. He has that quiet confidence, that Hector Garcia confidence swag. I see you, man.
I mean, I love them underdogs. I wish I would have put at least something on it. 18-1.
Me too.
Is that what it was?
Weekend of the underdog.
Shit, Catterall. My God. Listen, my brother Hopper here one time said that he had mixed emotions about two fighters that they went at it, right? And when Luke Campbell fought Ryan Garcia, it was like a very mixed emotions for him. Is that right, Hopper? Right. This is the same thing that I have for Pedraza and Jose Carlos Ramirez. I am a huge fan of Jose Carlos. Love Pedraza, love what he's done. But the best thing that I like about Pedraza is his stable, his camp. Una espada increíble, lo humilde y la humildad de Sidra Puerto Rico que tiene este campamento, que está trayendo boxeadores nuevos y ese aliento nuevo que necesita el boxeo, no tan solo puertorriqueño, pero mundialmente. Esto va a enviar un ejemplo a toda la comunidad boxística, a todo el fanático, todos los aficionados, que una pelea de esta magnitud se puede llevar a cabo y puede ser una pelea que puede tener en este momento that could be a potential for fight of the year. And I love it, regardless of who wins. Both were former champions. Pedraza, it's about to do something historic for the island of Puerto Rico, especially if Josh Taylor gets the heck out of there. All the belts will be vacated. There will be new champions at the 140 pounds. Now, I'm off the subject. My last notes. Oración para Ucrania. La pelea más grande se está peleando en el piso. Y aunque nosotros nos gusta el deporte de contacto, a que nosotros nos gusta ver la acción, nos gusta ver sangre, nos gusta ver dos personas dándose de cara a cara, bien triste el poder ver lo que está sucediendo con nuestros amigos hermanos en Ucrania. Y esperamos en Dios y oraciones para todos los ucranianos que puedan estar salvos y seguros y que en algún momento Dios toque a esta nación y diga que basta y para allá, para que así no tengamos que sufrir y pasar por todas esas tediosas ocasiones que pasaron en la Guerra Mundial número 1, número 2, que nuestros abuelos pasaron y toda esa generación del pasado. No queremos una tercera guerra mundial. Paz, oración y que todo se pueda resolver de una manera pacífica. En vivo.
Hey. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning into a show, man. Again, thank you so much for the support. Be looking out, like my brother Hopper said. And I know Manny's definitely dying to do it. We're going to do a special preview show or post show based off the Ramirez-Pedraza fight. Be looking out for it. But to know that, you got to be subscribed to the channel and also subscribe to the audience to HCP. HCP, if you like the Real Boxing Talk is home of the HCP network. They got great shows each week, so definitely check them out.
Hey, don't forget about Women Wednesday, crushing it. They're crushing it. These girls are like
it. So we'll see what's up, man. Try to get a Jose Ramirez Sniper either pre or post. Keep it locked, baby. We're gonna have all the talk. I'm gonna be talking mad trash to this guy over here. You already know how I'm gonna do it. I'm just gonna be talking trash. Even if Ramirez loses, I'm gonna still be talking.
All right, guys. So thank you so much for tuning in live on the YouTube, Facebook, and also on the audio podcast. We are out. Thank you.
It's my Fire throw A, it's Kenny T. I'm back in New York City after a weekend in Las Vegas.
We got Power Punchers episode 2, episode dos. Hit that like button as you come in.
Your boy Dave from the 408 coming to you all the way from my podcast studio in San Jose, Califas. You know what time it is. It's time for the shoot.
Everyone, welcome to Al Chile. We got my partners in crime, Run PMC and Nopal with us and visiting us for the first time. Al Chile means keeping it
style boxing. Thanks to those joining me live. Those that be joining me here on Archive. I've been joined by the new co-host of ATP, Nancy, from the Boxing Republic.
It's my birthday, and then obviously, Red says to me, these are my girls. You have to make sure you do the interview for them. I said, you know what? Even though it's my birthday, we'll do it. No problem.
Oh, you're amazing.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All-star panel, the round table, number 58. Really good weekend.
Seguimos en vivo. We are live, ladies and gentlemen. Como siempre, Mari Marrero.
Sean El Gringo Hicksa.
Hopper.
Hey.
Always breaking it down like it is, like it should.
Welcome to the Ringside Reporters Show, where we talk about the latest boxing news. If it's related to boxing, we're going to talk about it right here. My name is Eric Lorta, and I'm here with my co-host, Joe Habib.